Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Let's Play Hearthstone's Boom Labs. Today we're going to be tackling by far the 4 hardest sets of puzzles in the game, and I'm quite pleased because the ramp up in complexity is dramatic. Makes for some really fun stuff to noodle through.
Time is running out! It's Boomsday!
Also, guess what? I logged in and got 500 gold and 5 packs. The exchange rate, by the way, is 100 gold to a pack. Wonder why they're so magnanimous all of a sudden.
I ask you, why only collide particles? We could collide so many things! Trying to take me down? You've got guts! How do I extract them from you?
Dr. Boom is such a fun character. And he's a Hearthstone original. He was originally just a card added in the 2nd or 3rd expansion. It's a really powerful one, too. He's just a 7/7 for 7 that spawns 2 1/1s that explode on death. But that's a pretty powerful tempo swing, especially for when those cards came out. Anyway, yeah, they put out a patch which changed the meta a little bit, but to connect to what we were talking about last episode, they also made the battle pass a little bit more rewarding and gave a few paltry concessions like the golden packs. So on the bright side, right now it doesn't look like things are more expensive than they used to be. That's less of a victory than it sounds like, though, because the reason things boiled over so quickly in the first place in response to all this was because people were primed for it. A lot of folks in the Hearthstone community were already disgruntled with how expensive they felt the game had become. So making it more expensive and then rolling it back isn't some giant win.
Boom bots! Kaboom bots! Kadoom bots!
I keep doing this.
Science is built on mistakes. That's why I'm good at it.
As always, good line. I've been doing something wrong, and I think I finally figured out what. So we have Power Word Tentacles, this. I love that that's just a spell, Power Word Tentacles. I have to be careful about the order, because where I'm going wrong is with this version of Holy Smite. The card has been changed over time in Hearthstone, and I don't think all of the puzzles were updated to reflect the balance changes made. So I think I was using it at the wrong time. Which would have been great if it was the other version of Holy Smite, but that one took me a minute. Notice how much health he has. 435. So to understand how to do this, you need to know how fatigue works in this game. So I think in Magic the Gathering, when you run out of cards in your deck to draw, you just lose. In Hearthstone, it's a little bit different. When you have no more cards to draw, you instead take cumulative damage for each draw, starting at 1 and increasing by 1 every attempted draw. So Northshire Clerics will draw a card whenever a minion is healed. So we give him 4 Northshire Clerics, which we're going to be creating, or drawing rather, from our deck, and then giving over with Treachery and this card on the far left of our hand that costs 0 mana. It's just going to give him all of our minions.
Is someone injured?
Now, because he already has 1, and there's a cap of 7 on each side of the board, some things are going to get destroyed. So we're going to end up giving him 4 Northshire Clerics total. And then we're also going to Treachery this one, and it'll just get destroyed because there's nowhere to go. But we don't want to draw cards, so that's why we get rid of it. So we give him 4 Northshire Clerics and 3 other minions, heal all of them, and you have 4 Clerics drawing 7 cards each. So 28 extra draws into fatigue. It's just gonna keep going like this. There's a word for this that I just can't conjure because it's been so long since I've taken any kind of math course. It's not a factorial. That's multiplication. Like 4 factorial, I think it's 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. It's not a linear function, I don't think. Either way, the number is going to be big. The number of damage that he's going to take by the end of all this. 26 in fatigue, 27, 28, plus we had already started him into this earlier. The funny thing is, I learned the formula a long time ago when I first got way back into Hearthstone, just because I was curious how you calculate fatigue damage. And I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, it's x squared plus x over 2. And since x for us was 28, oh god, I can't square 28 in my head. What am I doing? All in all, the whole thing comes down to like 400-ish just from that burst. And then he had 35 on top of that. That was already cleaved off him. At least 35, I should say. And for this one, this is just a more extreme version of the previous one. That one was never go full Northshire. This one's full Northshire. And he has twice as much health as he had before. A little bit more. So we are going to have to execute on this at an even higher level. But we have the tools to do that this time. We have slightly more tools than usual. We can give him the 4th one, so that's not going to be drawing anything for us. Triggers the Wild Pyromancer, so there are 8 damaged minions on board. This will restore 2 health to all friendly minions. So he's going to draw 7 just for that. And then we have Circle of Healing to heal everything else afterwards as well. Which is going to both damage everything on the board, all 9 minions by 1, and then heal them by 1. So his 4 Northshire clerics this time are drawing 9 apiece instead of 7. Big, big numbers and lots of fatigue ticks. And what I was going on about before, I don't want to linger on that too much. I don't want both this episode and the previous one to be completely about that. And I've about covered it in as much depth as I'm able, so I'm going to abruptly switch topics to how some of these encounters for Hearthstone single player get made. So what they'll usually start by doing is going back to WoW or going back into Hearthstone's own history, I guess, if you're trying to turn a Hearthstone original card like Dr. Boom into a whole series of encounters like this. They'll dig back through history and go, what can we use from this era? What can we cherry pick? Like pulling from all the different bosses in all the different Blackrock Mountain dungeons in World of Warcraft. For the Blackrock Mountain adventure in this game. So you've got stuff like, you've got stuff from Molten Core, WoW's first raid. You've got stuff from Blackwing Lair. You've got stuff from Blackwing Descent.
Explosions just to watch everything I built.
You've got references to the 5-man dungeons in Upper and Lower Blackrock Spire. So then they go and actually do the content.
To the mind of Boom. Don't get lost. It's twisted.
Like, they'll go back and do the old raids and stuff. They'll put a small internal team together to just go back and clear dungeons and get a feel for what those fights were like and what the core themes of each fight was. Like, what's the flavor of the fight? What stands out?
Mirror, mirror that I grab. Who's the smartest in my lab?
Then they build the encounter around that.
Lucky you get to gaze upon the true perfection that is I. Hey, give me that.
They build the encounter around that, and then they iterate until they have something that both captures the spirit of the original boss while still fitting Hearthstone's framework. So I think we kidnap one of the sea giants, gets one of them out of hand. we can pretty much clear through everything else. Just with this and Soulfire, then we have 2 3/2 Shaws on either side. Oh, no voice line here. Okay. That's what I was waiting on. Sometimes the fights themselves, though, they don't offer all that much up to work with. Or they're making a brand new boss new to Warcraft. I think one of the examples that Ben Bro, the former director of Hearthstone, gave in this interview that I'm referencing was a boss in... I think he was the final boss of Ubers or Lobers. Is it Ubers? General Drakasath in Upper Blackrock Spire, I think? Oh, it's been a bit. But all General Drakasath did in WoW was, like, hit kind of hard and cleave, which is not... Those aren't really mechanics. WoW used to be really simple. So they had to find something that more fit his personality and build up from there.
My master will return.
So they're more trying, with something like him or an original character, they're more just trying to dig into who that character is and then build mechanics on top of it that kind of fit their flavor. And since we have the Alkanai Soul Priest up, remember this is going to deal 14 damage exactly and kill the Ultrasaur.
Feel my pain.
By the way, this is all from a really in-depth interview with Ben Brode back in 2015. I'll link it in the description for further reading, because it goes much further into the design of specific bosses from that era.
If I don't even know what I'm doing.
Uh,
Think about it.
Like how they iterated on Vale, who was originally a BWL boss in WoW and got ported over into Hearthstone as an encounter, or Razor Gore too. And then for this, there's this dormant card, right? It's called the Darkness, and it awakens when 3 candles are drawn. We have 3 candles in our deck, but we can't interact with a dormant card at all. You can't clear it off the board, you can't steal it, you can't send it back to their hand. With Vanish, for instance, we'll get the other 3 sent back to his hand. But the Darkness is dormant, it remains on board, it is a card that is uninteractable for now.
I hope you like my invention.
Was that a word I used? I don't know. Either way, we have to draw cards so this can become a real minion that we can do something with. And then you see we have this in our hands, Faceless Manipulator. So all we're going to do here is copy that 2020 while destroying the Novice Engineer with Naturalize. I really wish the Darkness had seen more play in the meta when it was relevant. Oh, hell yeah!
The Ray of Roasting, a weapon of devastating power. Super handy at a picnic.
The Ray of Roasting, deal 10 damage to all minions 10 times. Oh no, I'm thinking of the Rod of Roasting. The Rod of Roasting is also a single player thing for some of the roguelike modes. So nuts. That randomly casts a Pyroblast on each hero, going back and forth until someone dies.
Super handy at a picnic. It's okay. Science isn't an exact science.
Pyroblast is just a 10 damage nuke, so it just nukes each face for 10 damage, going back and forth until someone dies. That recently got added as a mechanic in Constructed in multiplayer, but there's a whole lot of conditions and luck involved in actually getting that to go off. So it's more just a silly meme thing. It's still pretty cool though. So the idea here is that stealth 0-10 with the Death Rattle. The Death Rattle is gonna destroy us unless we're immune. It's going to deal 10 damage, 100 damage left this is going to deal 10 damage multiple times. That's going to attempt to destroy us, but because we had that Mal'Ganis that was out of range, just out of health range of the Rod of Roasting,
That's my job.
it survived, so we got immunity.
The best part of an intricate master plan is making it up as you go along.
I like that Dr. Moon believes in you one.
Anduin versus Dr.
But if you fail, you will be liquidated.
You got quite the brain on you. Could you report to the metrics lab for jar sizing? No reason.
Ooh. This is one that always gave me trouble back in the day. Let's see if I remember right off the bat how this one works. This is just, you're creating a chain with these test subjects, Vivid Nightmare and Topsy Turvy. So Vivid Nightmare is gonna create a copy of that card with 1 health remaining. The test subject's Death Rattle is that whenever it dies, you get back whatever you cast on it. Including the Shadow Word Pain we used to kill it, Topsy Turvy, and the Vivid Nightmare. And remember, the goal is to clear his board, or to clear the whole board. You can't lose track of that while you're chaining these together, or how much or how little mana you have. There's a very precise ordering to all of this. That is, I think I've messed this up. Yeah, I have too many Vivid Nightmares, and I don't have anything else that I need.
Your superior weapons are no match for my crude intellect. Oh, wait, the other thing. Get me out of here!
Let's try this again. So I'm gonna have Vivid Nightmare, I'm gonna have Topsy Turvy, then I'm gonna Shadow Word Pain. Nothing has deviated from the original plan so far. It's just about when I cut this chain off. I think I had to go way further with it. Also, I may have messed up my Vivid Nightmares. So we're going to Vivid Nightmare a Radiant Elemental, which means all our spells cost 3 less now, which makes the Vivid Nightmares free. That's one spot in which I went wrong. I think that's the appropriate amount of Vivid Nightmares now. And more importantly, we also got that Topsy Turvy back, which is one of the places in which we went wrong before. Now, yeah, I am using this, but it's to switch the elemental to a 3/2. And you'll see why in just a second. Because we're immediately going to ping that off, and we had to get it out of hand. Now, we just clear the board. Including this, we will get 1 back when we kill the test subject, because we have so much on it already. And then the Holy Smite we used to kill it is reduced by 1 because the Radiant Elemental is still on board, which means we can use that final Holy Smite to clear the last Radiant Elemental.
This puppy is almost as unstable as me. Almost. Okay, off to a good start. We always hit the one in the center. The gimmick with this is whenever the legendaries there, they're now 9/5 each. Kill an enemy minion, they spawn these 1/1 leper nodes. And then we have the Cave Hydra, which can cleave, and the spells that make them able to attack twice. So this one, the important thing is you have to watch the positioning and which enemy you're attacking when. Because you want to control these spawns in a really precise way so that you can also clear your own board. Like this is going to enable me to. So that's going to spawn an extra leper gnome, and now we have 3 minions to clear off 3 minions. That one is really hard. And, oh, this is not the one, but there is another really hard one coming up.
I mean, at some point, just all of them are super tough. And the difference is just by degrees, but the next one is a couple of degrees harder. For now, again, we're doing the chain thing with the test subjects. This is with the Divine Spirit Inner Fire combo. Divine Spirit doubles the health of whatever you cast it on.
It's not rocket science.
Inner
Or is it?
Fire sets your target's damage to be able to be equivalent to its health. So you buff up the health and then buff up the attack to match the health. This time we just have a lot more test subjects and a lot more going on than the first time with that Vivid Nightmare chain. And we still have the Vivid Nightmares to deal with. And this all revolves around this 3-mana legendary, Sergeant Sally. She does an AoE equivalent to how much attack she has when she dies. So that's how we're going to clear the board. The only problem is, on the enemy side of the board, there are all these Cairn Bloodhoofs. My boy from Warcraft 3, the Tauren Chieftain. When he dies, he spawns another similar Tauren Chieftain, Bane Bloodhoof. So you have to kill all of those and then have a second wave of attacks to clear the spawns from the death route. That's where this gets complicated. But that's what we have Vivid Nightmare for. We have all these buffs on all these test subjects, so we're able to get those back, buff Sergeant Sally's health up to 5 or more, and then buff her attack up to 5 or more, then kill her off, then make a copy, I should say, then kill her off. Oh, and clear the board. These puzzles all have like 20 steps to them. I told you, it's a big step up when you get to the final set of challenges. Some of my favorites, too. Okay, I think we're good. Then we just Vivid Nightmare Sally. They both have 8 attack. We're gonna ping this one off first, so she'll destroy the first wave of Cairns. And then we have Spirit Lash to finish everything else, to clear our side of the board mainly. Spirit Lash with that spell damage buff. Because nothing on our side of the board had more than 2 health, so we're good. We're good. Yes, 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 yes.
The way I programmed this mech suit to walk was staggering. You know?
So, you see Defiles in our hand, you know this is going to be a Defile puzzle. So we are going to be manipulating the health values of a lot of minions in really, really precise ways. This is widely considered to be the hardest puzzle in the game because it's just a complicated Defile puzzle, and we know how that spell works by now. 1 damage to every minion on the board, rinse and repeat every time it kills something. So you just have to set the dominoes up perfectly. And you have all of these different minions, all of these different spells that are manipulating the health totals that are on the board. That just, you have so many options and so many ways to make this play out. Just so many choices to make. We're going to use the Void Terror here to destroy the Moat Lurker. The Moat Lurker's battle cry is to destroy something, and on Death Rattle, it re-summons that. So we only want to hit the Moat Lurker with that Void Terror. And now, if I did everything right, Defile is going to clear everything. Looks like we did it. That was the one that I thought was going to take a few tries.
It's a work in progress.
Woo! Love that. I love Defile so much. What a good card.
Project is nearly complete. Soon, we'll know what we're building.
It's the goddamn best card. Really is one of my favorites.
Versus Dr. Boom! You've got quite the brain on you. Could you report to the metrics lab for jar sizing? No reason.
Warlocks get so much cool shit. We get Defile. We got all these cool discard mechanics. We got Rin back in the day, which is that card that led to being able to play a 10-drop that destroys your opponent's entire deck. We have Takatis now. Jiraxis, the first hero card. And this is going to summon Mal'Ganis from hand so we can survive that laser. Ah, this is cool. This is the Genie of Zephyrs. After you cast a spell on another friendly minion, you duplicate that spell onto the Genie. So we're going to play Lore Walker Cho. Whenever we cast a spell, that's going to put one in the enemy's hands. We're going to make another Lore Walker Cho, so he gets 2 duplicates of each spell we cast. And you might be wondering, how does this lead to us getting healing? You'll see in a second. It's not actually healing that we're going to get, it's all armor. So we're going to buff everything up, and then take the highest attack thing that we have, that isn't the Genie, and buff it with Earthen Scales. Earthen Scales gives you armor equivalent to their, to whatever you cast it on's, attack. I had to remember whether it was the attack or their health. Now, because the Lore Walker choked and the Azalina Soul Thief, we get a copy in their hand, and we put a bunch of our buffs in their hand. So we just get to do this all over again. By the way, the Earthen Scales, if I didn't mention, is going to duplicate onto the Genie of Zephyrs, which means it casts twice, giving us twice as much armor from that as usual. We buff everything again. This will give us 8 armor plus 10 on the Genie, because that's going to get buffed by +1. Which means we have more than enough armor to survive the laser. God, Warlocks also got that cool Bloodbloom Cataclysm Mechathune deck, which when you
baby, I lost half my lab leads. Worth it.
So the deal with Mechathune is that its death rattle is that if you have no cards left in your deck and no cards left on the battlefield and no cards left in your hand and it dies, you win the game right there on the spot. It just destroys the enemy hero. But there's so much setup to it. And Warlock's got some really cool ways to set that combo up. I love it. This is another Genie of Zephyrs Earthen Scales type puzzle. But with the addition of this card called Branching Paths, which gives you the option of doing a couple of different things 2 times in a row. Draw a card, give your minions +1 attack, or gain 6 armor. So we can gain 12 total here, which is just what we need. And unlike the others, there are not 4 puzzles here, but 6. But this is not the last one yet. Very first thing we're going to do is put Mal'Ganis at the bottom of our deck, and then we have a bunch of cards left in our deck that we have to draw through. That's where this Doom card comes in. But we have to be really careful about how many cards we draw, because we're going down to 1 health. And then we're slingshotting back up to 24. But 24 is still too shy of the mark that we need. We need to get above 30. Or we need to hit 30. So we have a lot of this left. We have a lot of damage left to take. This is a lot like the puzzle that we did in, I think it was the last episode. With the same mechanic with Demonic Research, where it turns all of your cards' mana costs into health costs. So we're going to Doom again, deal 10 damage to ourselves, draw the rest of our deck, but, importantly, we have not overdrawn. And then we're going to take 1 damage plus 3 from the Flame Imp, get us down to 4. Void Terror to destroy these things, and they are going to summon from our hand the last 2 remaining demons, including Mal'Ganis, which makes us immune. We are getting there.
I've turned the knob up to 11.
This is another one where Earth and Scales is really important, so trying to get something with a lot of attack is our goal. Which is why we're starting with this red mana worm. And the Genie of Zephyrs again, which we get double of because of Ixlid Fungal Lord summoning an extra copy. And then we Gloop Sprayer between the two genies to summon 2 additional genies. And now Earth and Scales is going to duplicate 4 more times after the initial cast, which gives us so much armor. And last but not least, Fungal Frugality. So that's your big hint that this one revolves once again around Ixlid, the Fungal Lord. We want to get this sheep out first so we don't duplicate it. We just want the 1 copy, because that's going to AoE the whole board 1 time. Don't want to happen twice. That could be bad for us. Then Spirit Singer Umbra, once again a card I love because it triggers death rattles as soon as something hits the board. So we have 2 of those triggering death rattles. Then we have 2 death rattles, each getting triggered twice. And I messed that up slightly. I think I'm... Oh, yeah, okay.
It's not rocket science, or is it?
I know where I went wrong. I was supposed to play that voodoo doll into the explosive sheep. This is the other reason why we play the explosive sheep first, because it's a death rattle. We don't want it to trigger as soon as it hits the board because Spirit Singer Umbra is already down. So the ordering here is actually pretty carefully chosen. Now we voodoo doll this because Spirit Singer Umbra is down. It's going to trigger right away, and the death rattle for voodoo doll is destroy whatever you have targeted with its battle cry, which is further going to pop the Mistresses of Mixture and heal us up a bit. So this is a combination of armor gain and health gain.
Widespread chaos is a prelude to megalomaniacal global domination. Was that so wrong?
Now I've already cleared this once, so we aren't going to get treated to that reward a second time, but let's see what we would have gotten for clearing all of that. Keep in mind how ridiculously hard that was. Now, what we get in terms of rewards, it's not a pack, it's not packs, it's not a coin skin, it's a card back. It's a purely cosmetic thing. It's this. It's not even a good-looking card back. Like, not even in my top 5 that I have. Still, though, like, I think clearing those puzzles is its own reward because they're fun. But damn, that's stingy as hell. So I hope you've enjoyed this. This has been a different flavor of Let's Play for me. I'm quite happy with how it turned out. I love the novelty of Hearthstone single-player mode. Modes, rather. And it's been on my brain a lot. As probably my biggest distraction of the pandemic, and something I've gotten a lot of joy out of during it. A time which it doesn't need to be said, but I'll say it anyway, just for the sake of it, has been an incredibly hard time for everyone. It's a shame that Blizzard and their bullshit, especially in the last month, has embittered that a little bit. But hey, I've had a good time with this, and I hope you all have had a good time with it too. So thank you all for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell. They may have removed that by now. I don't know. The things that make the algorithm happy, do those things. Plus, they make me happy too, especially the comments. I love the community that I've built up here. It's such a rare thing on YouTube to be happy to go into the comments and interact with folks. Got a lot of decent folks in this community. I'm glad for that. So, also check out everything else in the description, like a link to my Twitch, my Patreon, our Discord community. If you want to join the Discord, just remember, be respectful, decent, don't be an asshole, and read the rules. Thank you all for watching so much. Stay tuned next week for Okami at long last, starting on Tuesday. Thank you all for watching. Take it easy. Have a good one, y'all.